to rock this place. Hey! Hey!
Welcome to a special edition of the Buffalo Sports Conversation Room. I'm your host, Jamie Malloy, and I'll be flying solo. I'm flying solo today as my co-host, Joe Delio, is at work. I have a very special guest on our show today to talk everything, and I mean everything, Buffalo Bills. As my guest is the co-founder of Bills Mafia and the 2023 Buffalo Bills Fan of the Year. Everybody, please welcome to the podcast, Mr. Del Reed. Hello, Del. How are you? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Jamie?
I'm fantastic. So I actually can't believe I'm interviewing you, the co-founder. So I've been a Bills fan now for 20 years, and I love being part of Bills Mafia. Now you have to tell us how did Bills Mafia come about?
Yeah, it all spawned out of a dropped pass that Stevie Johnson had in the 2010 season against the Pittsburgh Steelers in overtime. He went on Twitter that evening and kind of questioned his faith a little bit, questioned God, and Bills fans were rallying around him in that situation, like we often do with players. We love our team, we love its players, we support them through thick and thin. And the next day, Adam Schefter retweeted Stevie's old tweet. We kind of teased Adam about it. And because you know how Twitter works, like the next day seems like a long time later to retweet something. And so we were teasing him about it. We were probably being a little oversensitive. And Adam blocked a bunch of us. And then you fast forward a few months later, I just made a joke on Twitter. I called us the Bills Mafia and wasn't trying to start anything, but it just took off and became popular with fans and players and the media, and then eventually the team.
That's awesome. And I remember that game too. I was watching it down in my basement. It was still during the drought years. It was Chan Gailey's first year as head coach. That was the year where they were 4-12, but they showed a lot of promise at the end of the year with Stevie Johnson. And they played a lot of teams that were good at the time, close, and they probably could have won a lot of those games. But we don't want to really rehash the past there, but I just wanted to let people know that. Anyway, I also wanted to tell you that I did vote for you for NFL Fan of the Year. So
thank you very much.
No problem for that. I had to do that out of the kindness of my heart, and I love the Bills too. So anyways, tell us, how did you become the Bills 2023 Fan of the Year?
Yeah, so it's an online competition that the NFL runs for every team every year, at least for the past 3 or 4 years. My wife found out about it, and she said, "I'm going to nominate you for this." And I was like, "You don't have to, like, really?" And she says, "No, we're doing it." And so she spearheaded the whole campaign. I did not participate much at all. I felt a little weird about it, asking people to vote for fellow fans to vote for me for the Fan of the Year. It just felt kind of weird. But she was tweeting about it and posting about it on Facebook, and she hit up like former Bills players and a few friends we have in the media and everything, and really pushed for it. And it happened. So I'm really excited about it. Honored. When you go to the stadium, there's 73,000 other people that probably deserve to be Fan of the Year just as much as me. So I don't take it too seriously, but it's an awesome honor.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's an awesome honor, and that's cool that you got friends in the media. Not too many people get to say, as we always joke, that sometimes the media isn't our friends, but you do get good people in the media that know you and trust you and will do the right thing and won't try to, paint you in a bad spot to fit their narrative. But that's a good thing. So,
yeah,
there are a few good ones left there in the media, which is a good thing. So anyway, what else? What comes with being fan of the year?
Yeah, so they gave me a cool jersey. So if you watched the video that the Bills put together when they announced it, I got this cool jersey, number 23 for the year 2023. It says "Fan of the Year" on the back. It has a cool patch on it and everything. And I also got a couple tickets to the Super Bowl. So my wife and I will be going to the Super Bowl this year. It should be a lot of fun. Really hope it's becoming more and more harder to just assume it's going to happen, or to I don't want to say harder to believe, but I'm really hoping the Bills join me there as well. Still a chance, so I really am pulling for them. I mean, I would be anyway, whether I was going or not. I'd be pulling for them, but it'd be really cool if we could go together.
Yeah, that would be cool if we could go together. It'd be awesome. And but my dad and I were talking about the history of the team, and now that we got Coach McDermott, and we've been close the last couple of years, and we haven't gotten there. And he always reminds me of the 4 years in a row. And he actually said he would rather be where we are now, where we're close, and then we eventually win one, rather than go to 4 straight and never win one. So he's telling me we're actually in a better position now than we were during the 90s when they went to 4 and never won one, because we're on the verge of eventually winning one, and I think we can win one.
Yeah, I can understand that perspective. I mean, having lived through those 4 Super Bowl years, I wouldn't trade them for anything. Like, people sometimes say, like, if you could give up the other 3 appearances to have, a win, would you? And it's a fun hypothetical, thought experiment. But I don't know, man. Those 4 years were fun. It was a very fun stretch of Buffalo Bills football. So all that said, yes, I think the Bills are in a great position right now, and I really hope that I just want one. So hopefully Josh Allen and company are able to achieve that, in the next few years.
Exactly. And with the new stadium coming in 2026, we would like to do it hopefully before we get there, but it'll be even more special if we do it there too,
For sure. I'd love to serve the old building, with a championship, at least one, whether it's, this year or in the next couple of years while the Bills are still playing at the current Highmark Stadium. I sure would love for that stadium to see a banner get raised, or, or what I mean, how they do it in the NFL. But I'd love for that to happen.
Exactly. Me too. And moving on. So along with your co-founders of Bills Mafia, you believe that it drives a positive change and a desire to give back to the community. So can you tell us a little bit about 26 Shirts and how it gives back to the community of Orchard Park, Western New York?
Yeah. So ever since the inception of Bills Mafia in 2011 is when we kind of became a thing, really. And we started to organize some stuff around it. The whole goal has always been to lift up other fans. We never wanted to make it about ourselves. We wanted to, to pursue the charitable angle as much as possible. And we would do these different fundraiser tailgates and different initiatives to help people in the community. And then in 2013, a couple of years later, I had this idea to sell T-shirts to help people in the community. And so 26 Shirts kind of grew out of the Bills Mafia movement and became its own thing, because we do more than just Bills related designs. We do hockey ones and stuff that's just about the city in general. But the whole goal is to take what people love about this community, whether it's the sports teams or just the city itself, and find some way to celebrate that on the front of a T-shirt, and then also give back, as much as we're able to, give back to a local family or nonprofit.
That's awesome. And I just wanted to take the time to say we have a StreamYard comment. It's from one of my coworkers at DefiantTakesFootball.com and a current member of the Forkball podcast, Miss Julie Miller. She just commented, such a cool interview. Good stuff, Jamie. And it's on YouTube. So I think she's listening right now. And thank you, Julie. I appreciate that very much for listening and commenting on that. That's very thoughtful of you. So Anyway, let's move on. That's a wonderful thing you're doing for the 2-6 T-shirts company. I think that's awesome that you're doing this for not only for yourself but for the people of Western New York and the diehard members of Bills Mafia who really love the Bills and want to represent you, the brand, and the merchandise.
Yeah, well, thank you. And it's not just me. I always say it's not the Del Reed show. I have a great team. I have 6 employees here at 26 Shirts, and they all obviously contribute to this whole effort. And we can put all the different shirt designs we want out there. If people don't believe in our mission, if they don't buy the shirts, then nobody gets helped. And so it really is a community effort. I'm lucky to be play the role in it that I do, but it's truly something that this is a win for the entire community.
Yeah, it's a huge win on and off the field. As Coach McDermott always says, you want to win on the field, but you want to do things in the community off the field as well to make people's lives better, and especially those who don't get the chance to be football players or to be fans like us. So it's a great experience for them to change their fortunes around, at least for even if it's for a week. It makes them feel good. So.
Yep.
Anyway, it is now that time for our question of the week segment. So, Del, are you ready for trying our question?
Let's go for it.
Okay, Del, so here is your question. Can you guess who this NFL player is? He played in 3 NFL seasons, was drafted number 1 overall, and had 18 touchdown passes. Is it Jamarcus Russell, Jeff George, Ryan Leaf, or Tim Couch?
I'm going to guess Jamarcus Russell.
You're correct, though. The correct answer was Jamarcus Russell.
Nice.
Awesome. Anyway, so now tuning our attention to some Bills football, we have to start with that dreadful but exciting game, as the media did say. It was another instant classic game in which the Bills fell short, but still instant classic nonetheless. And so we got to go in the second quarter when Allen was called for intentional grounding. It should have been a horse collar tackle as he was plowed to the ground. And even Tony Romo agreed. What did you think of that bad officiating call, Del? I mean, isn't the league supposed to be about protecting the quarterbacks, right?
Well, I think you just described it. It was a bad officiating call. It was just I guess I could get on board with the horse collar if they didn't call that, which felt egregious to me anyway. I mean, the one hand ripped the front of his collar to begin with, and then he had his hand directly beneath the base of his helmet. But the intentional grounding was silly. It just did not. It was he was outside of the pocket. There was a receiver, close enough by where I've seen much, much, much more egregious attempts at getting rid of the ball that were not called intentional grounding. So it was just a double whammy play. It was frustrating to watch and just couldn't believe it went that way.
Yeah, I know, right? And anyway, second in overtime when Gabe Davis went behind the Eagles secondary and was ready for the touchdown, Allen still went to the right, though Davis ran to his left. Who do you think was at fault for that mistake?
Oh, I couldn't say. I'm not. I don't know how the play was drawn up. I don't know what was discussed beforehand. Yes, Joe Brady. He said it was his fault. So I'll go with whatever the official line is there. Joe Brady looked great. He's called a couple great games the past 2 weeks. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I guess it was his fault. But I mean, not knowing the play call, not knowing how it was designed, not knowing what was discussed, in the huddle before the play, I can't say who his fault it was.
I think Joe Brady's the sacrificial lamb for this one, kind of like Ken Dorsey was the sacrificial lamb for being fired after the Denver game. But I think the reason why Brady's being the sacrificial lamb is because he's the offensive coordinator. He's the one who called the play, and it was just a miscue by Allen and Davis. So I don't think anybody was really at fault. Joe Brady's just taking the blame for it to be a good guy and a stand-up character guy, I feel.
That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, exactly. So, and speaking of which, at the end of the game, Philadelphia Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni couldn't find Sean McDermott for the customary handshake. So to compensate for that, Sirianni went to the Bills locker room after the game with Eagles executive Howie Roseman to shake hands with McDermott. Now, this is kind of a hot question right here, but do you think that Sirianni would have done that if the Eagles lost the game?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm not sure. Sirianni seems like a straight up, good guy from, all intents and purposes. Like, I'm not super familiar with him. I don't watch the Eagles, any other team, as closely as I watch the Bills. So I don't have an answer for you there. But, you'd want to think so, because that's a customary handshake, and it always seems like a big deal. And I wasn't aware of this, what you just shared. So, but it's hard to say. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'll say yes.
Here's what I think. I think he's a good coach and everything, but I think he's one of those coaches where I think if he loses a game like that and it doesn't go his way, I think he's a poor sport, and I don't think he would have shaken McDermott's hand. Just saying.
Yeah. It's hard to say. They haven't lost a lot of games recently, so we don't have much of a sample size, do we?
Right. But anyway, so now looking back to that Monday night, November 13th game against the Denver Broncos, where the Bills lost 24-22, they ended up firing offensive coordinator Kenny Dorsey. Now, do you believe they would have won that game if they still would have let Dorsey go, or do you think he still would have been the OC had they won that game?
It's hard. I mean, coaches normally don't get fired after wins, so it's hard to say. It's hard for me to say yes. I think he would be. Oh yeah, it has, sure, but not too often. Like, everything's going well, you don't upset the apple cart. But I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think Ken Dorsey was always the best candidate for this role, and I don't know all that went into his being awarded with it a year and a half ago. I mean, there's all kinds of different stories about, that was Josh's guy and this or that or whatever. So, but you just look at what's happened the past 2 weeks on the field with the Bills offense, and it's hard to argue that, they don't have a better person in that role now than they did before.
Tell you the truth, I think the play calls are the same. It's just with a different guy, and I think they're executing it better, because if you think about it, and I'll tell you the story why Kenny Dorsey was hired, because after Dable, they felt like it was a continuity hire, because things are going well, you promote within, and he was the quarterback's coach, and he was with Carolina, which, how the Bills and Brandon Beane and McDermott, they love to be called the Carolina Bills. Let's just get a coach from Carolina to come here. And so he was, he also was an offensive coordinator at Carolina when McDermott wasn't there. So, but it just didn't, it worked well the first year, and then it didn't work very well the second time. So then they just thought, let's promote within again and promote Joe Brady. That's what they like to do, empower their coaches to take other people's jobs. That's how a successful organization is. Sometimes it is about winning all these Super Bowls. It's about having the steady head coach and promoting your assistants within, and that's what the Bills have been doing well. Yeah. So I give the Bills the benefit of the doubt for doing that very well.
For sure.
And I like Joe Brady too. I like how he's young. He's 34 years old. He's energetic, and he really loves Josh Allen. You could tell he believes in him 100%. He's like all in for him. He's like his guy, I feel.
Yeah, I think we all believe in Josh Allen, right? So it's if he has a good rapport with this new coach, then that's even better. That new coach believes in him. He should. So it's good.
If you heard Joe Brady's introductory press conference the Tuesday when he was introduced, he said, "Give me Josh Allen all day, every day." And he goes, "I think he's the best quarterback in the league when he plays well, period." He said that. So that just tells you he's a confident guy like that. So now turning our attention to Von Miller, the level of play since returning in week 5 has only tallied 2 total tackles and a quarterback hit since his ACL tear last November. So, Dell, I want to ask you, do you think that he came back too early? And at 34 years old, do you think he returns next year? Because I know he signed a 6-year, $100 million deal with us.
Well, I'll start with the second one. I think he's back next year for sure. Yeah, I don't. He's given no indication that he plans on retiring, and I don't think the Bills are in a position where they could cut him, even if they wanted to, without like serious cap implications. The first part of your question, I can't really answer because I'm not a medical professional, so I don't know if he returned too early or not. It does seem like he's playing like somebody who just tore their ACL a year ago and is cleared for practice or cleared for play. But I want to think that hopefully as these next few weeks come on, that he's going to heal up and do better, and get to where he needs to be. The Von Miller that we know. So. We'll see. I mean, he has to. Like he has to, because the Bills are in a tough position right now when it comes to where they are in the playoff race. So I don't think there's really a choice. It's time for everybody on the team to perform at the absolute best ability that they're able to.
And I think that timing's actually right this week, as we finally had a bye week. I was telling my parents that win or lose, that this was a great time to have a bye week, because I feel like with all the injuries they've had, they've been mentally and physically tired, and they were tired. You could tell after that game against Philly. And Dion Dawkins said a lot of our jerseys are dirty, and we need a bye week. We've been gassed, and we need time to recuperate. We got a tough stretch coming up, starting with Kansas City. And I think this is actually a perfect time for them to have a bye weekend for Von Miller and other guys to get healthy, and hopefully Daquan Jones. Daquan Jones said that McDermott actually said that Daquan Jones may actually be back pretty soon. He actually has a better chance of coming back before Milano does. So speaking of the bye week, with the Bills record now at 6-6 and heading into that bye week, what do you think they need to do to bounce back?
Win. Winning cures everything. I think the offense is playing great. The past 2 weeks, win or lose, like I can't complain with the offense. There's a couple drops here and there in this last game. They're also playing in the rain, and also they're humans. So, but you cannot fault the play of this offense, this quarterback, the past 2 weeks. So they need to win. They need to do better. I think they've done a pretty decent job with defense, given the injuries. There's been some tough, coaching decisions, that have been really hard to understand and really agree with. But if the team continues to play, the offense especially, plays at the level it has been, and the defense is able to hold back some of these tough teams they're going to be lined up against soon, and if we're able to get some better game situational decisions in the game, I think that they can run the table. Like everything in the building is there to win a Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills. They have everything there. They just need to do it, and nobody's getting any younger. And I want to see them win. That's it. I think they have to win out. I don't think they're able to realistically lose one more game and still make the playoffs. I think there's always a path, and you don't know what's going to happen in the rest of the league, but they got to win out.
But see, like I said, the good news is with our bye week now, is we can catch up to an even amount of games played with the teams that we're chasing, because the reason why we're still in it is because even though we've lost, some of these other teams have lost, but some of these other teams have also played a half a game more or a half a game less, and because we haven't buyed. But now that we're on the bye week, now we're at least going to play an even amount of games with the teams we have to chase, which is a good thing.
Yeah, dust all settles in at the end of the season, at the end of the regular season, so it'll all even out. But the the in the hunt graphic and the playoff seeding and everything will make a little bit more sense for Bills fans, following this bye week.
Oh, folks, it looks like we have another comment. It's from the CFL Saskatchewan Roughriders. Shake this one off, folks, because it said the CFL is better. Well, that's your opinion. Good for you. This isn't a CFL show. This is a Bills show. So, yeah, I like the CFL too, though. We respect for that. But anyway, looking in the next year in the Bills salary cap situation, that's the one positive thing we have, I think, going forward. Is last year we were in cap hell after we lost to the Bengals, but luckily Brandon Beane did a good job of getting us out of that by getting rid of Tremaine Edmonds and restructuring some contracts, letting Devin Singletary go and allowing James Cook to be the running back. So now we're not going to at least be in cap hell heading into next year. But it also looks like the Bills could be losing some more guys, like potentially Gabe Davis or some of their aging players, which will allow the Bills to create even more cap space for 2024. So do you think that they'll be able to replace these guys with younger players and build with a younger team and win with more cap space? Because it's kind of like what the Sabres are doing right now. And we think maybe the Bills should do this route because it could work like how the Sabres are doing and catch up with them.
As long as Josh Allen is on the roster, I don't think the window is ever closed for the Bills to make noise in the playoffs, if not win a Super Bowl. So Brandon Beane has shown over the past several years that he is able to navigate the NFL salary cap and does it well. He does it well with the restructures and the different, choices he does in the offseason. So I'm not going to concern myself with that end of things, because I think as long as you have Josh Allen, you got a shot.
And I already said, I think the Bills could possibly lose Gabe Davis because they don't have enough cap space to be able to re-sign him. But do you think they could re-sign him? It's just, it looks tough because I think, like I said, I think Brandon Beane wants to build Josh Allen with younger talent around him and create more cap space for next year.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe's not old, right? He was drafted in the 2020 season. But I think that you can certainly get players in this upcoming draft or wherever, free agency, however that plays out, that are going to be better than have better deals available for the team. They're more team-friendly deals. But, yeah, I mean, Gabe Davis, he's been criticized a bunch the past few weeks by different pundits. He got a game ball after the Jets game, I believe, or he didn't get a catch, but he's still a factor on this offense. So I'm not familiar enough with the cap situation, all the intricate details that are going on with it right now. So but we'll see where that ends up. But I am confident that Brandon Beane can find the talent to continue to support Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and the rest of this offense.
And like I said, the reason why we're going to be young next year is because we got 10 draft picks for next year. That's why. So, but like I said, with that, we could end up we could possibly go from 1 million to 5 million in salary cap space. We could probably have like 50 to 60 million next year if he clears up more. So it's possible we could have a lot more going into next year, which we still have a shot this year, but at least we're setting ourselves up for 2024, both product wise and cap wise, which is good. Mm-hmm. So anyway, how do you think that Dalton Kincaid is doing in his place of Dawson Knox at tight end? And what do you think will happen when Knox returns? Because I'd like to see a twin tight end set maybe again.
Yeah, I wasn't too crazy of the 12 personnel setup that the Bills had going with both tight ends, but Quentin Morris, I think he's been playing between 20, 30 snaps a game. So I think when Dawson Knox returns, you're at least going to see him slide back into that role where Quentin Morris has been playing recently. Dalton Kincaid he's a different player. He's almost like a slot receiver for this team. He does do he blogs, and we saw the one that he did, I think a Shakir touchdown last week or 2 weeks ago, rather. So he's got all of that in him, but I think that he plays a slightly different role in this offense than Dawson Knox does. So I don't think you want to compare apples to apples. Just say like, oh, it's either one or the other. But the Bills there was like 30 plays a game where there's another tight end on the field, and it's been Quentin Morris. So at the very least, that's where Dawson Knox is going to end up.
I think that was a great draft pick, Dalton Kincaid, because it's a tight end driven league now. We needed to draft like a Travis Kelce-esque type of tight end. And I think if we keep using Dalton Kincaid, he could be our Travis Kelce type of tight end where he's that athletic and he's just dependable and open all the time.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's a great pick. I'm thrilled with what Kincaid has brought to the table. And as a rookie, to see him perform like he has, for him to contribute like he has been awesome.
It has been awesome. Now, with all the injuries that have been happening in the season in the NFL, do you think that they should do away with Thursday Night Football, as Thursday Night Football has kind of been the scapegoat for all these guys getting injured on Thursday night?
I don't think it matters. They're not going to get rid of Thursday Night Football. It's just not going to happen. It's something that's been sold to Amazon. It's going to be there. So we could get into hypotheticals of like, should they or shouldn't they, but they are going to. It's going to be there. So, it doesn't really matter.
Right. I don't want to get rid of Thursday Night Football because then I wouldn't be able to watch Carissa Thompson with Ryan Fitzpatrick and all those guys. So yeah, then I would only have to watch Carissa on Fox. So but anyway, that's just me fanboying over an announcer. So don't worry about that. Anyway, moving on. What do you think of Allen's overall play this year? I know there's been some ups and downs and mid-season coaching changes to the offense, but overall he's looked decent. So tell us, what are your thoughts on him?
He's Josh Allen. He's fantastic. He has tough weeks and he has good weeks, and but are his interceptions up a little bit this year? Yeah, and there's several that I think there are more arm punts than anything else, like the one at the end of the Jets, the first half of the Jets game, stuff like that. I'm not worried about Josh Allen, especially now that it seems like the past couple of weeks they've unlocked a little bit that wasn't there the previous games. So I'm not worried about Josh.
I'm not either. I think he's a very good quarterback. I want to be able to get in there and win a Super Bowl because, like I said, I think we're already set up for next year, but we still have a shot this year. That's why. So, well, it looks like we come to the end of our show, and I'd like to thank Del for coming on, and we want to let him know that he is very welcome at any time to come back and talk Bills football. So, Del, where can we find you on social media in this world of 2023?
Well, Jamie, thank you for having me on. I appreciate the invite. I'm at Del Reed on Twitter and Del Reed 26 on Instagram and Facebook. So, and then obviously we're 26 shirts on all the channels, just 26 shirts.
That's awesome. And anyway, you can always find me, yours truly, at Bills Chat 1, at Bills Mafia Chat, and at Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dog Tags on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and DefiantTakesFootball.com, where I write about the Bills, Syracuse football, and spring football. Thank you very much for listening. And remember, folks, the NFL should still be about protecting its quarterbacks at all causes. Let's all take the bye week off to regroup. And Josh Allen is still at quarterback, baby back. And there's my pun, the Chili's pun right there that Joe was telling you about. I would break out a pun, and I did there. So anyway, to quote our friend Chris Berman, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. See you next Tuesday, folks.
To rock